Good morning, I'm Wendy Burke, and this is the CBC Morning Report for Tuesday, September 28th. In our top story, successful triple-digit days of positive COVID-19 cases have been stretching this island's main and temporary isolation facilities to the limit. The acknowledgement from Health Minister Jeffrey Bostic, who says the total of isolation facilities now numbers about 8 and includes at least 5 schools. He was at the time responding to a video that circulated on Sunday in which a woman was expressing concern about a lack of beds and other facilities at the Blackman and Gollop isolation site. Speaking during a media conference last evening, Minister Bostic said, among other things, government will be looking to implement a secure home quarantine and isolation system. His ministry will also be meeting today with Minister of People Empowerment to address the issue of families where positive senior members have to be isolated along with negative children, elderly or disabled family members.
Because of the large numbers that we've been getting, which means that we are obviously challenged for bed space, and the large number of children who are accompanying positive cases at all of the isolation facilities, including Harrison Point. We in the Ministry of Health and Wellness have made a determination that we must consult with the Ministry of People Empowerment and Elderly Affairs to be able to get some assistance and some guidance from that ministry, because they have the expertise to assist us in dealing with children who accompany positive parents to isolation facilities. And this is a meeting we're going to have tomorrow to see if we can come up with a plan to deal with that, because with the greatest will in the world, there's no way that we can anticipate how many people are going to be turning up at a facility that are not positive.
While expressing regret about the situation that resulted in the video, Minister Bostic also expressed concern that it was circulated in the first place, since it would have violated the quarantine and isolation protocols. He says it casts a dark shadow on the operations of the facility and its hardworking staff.
And I must tell you that this morning I felt badly about it when I discovered exactly what had happened. And that is because these people are working in and out and beyond the call of duty to ensure that people are kept safe and that we provide the very best of service that we can, even in these very trying times. And so when that sort of situation obtains, it really has a demoralizing effect on the members of the team. And that is something that we really have to fight against. So I am urging Barbadians and I'm asking Barbadians to understand the situation that we are in. You watch television and you see exactly what is happening all across the globe. We are trying our very best to make sure that we do as best we can for everyone. But sometimes there are going to be challenges. Sometimes there are going to be delays in being able to process people. All of these things must be expected when you are in a war zone, and we are in a COVID war zone.
Next on CBC Morning Report, updates on the COVID-19 pandemic. Yet another daily high as Barbados recorded 188 new COVID-19 cases on Sunday. The test conducted by the Dos Santos Public Health Lab identified 91 males and 97 females out of a total of 1,746 tests. Of these new cases, 53 are in the 18 and under category, and there are now 1,062 people in isolation. Meanwhile, one death was recorded yesterday, that of a 47-year-old woman who was unvaccinated. To date, 102,267 people have received their second dose and are fully vaccinated. U.S. President Joe Biden has publicly received a COVID-19 booster jab, urging more Americans to get vaccinated amid a recent increase of infections linked in part to the highly contagious Delta variant.
Federal regulators have approved a third shot of the Pfizer jab for Americans 65 and older and also for adults with underlying health conditions. President Biden is 78. Adults who work in high-risk and institutional health settings also qualify for that booster.
But the most important thing we need to do is get more people vaccinated. The vast majority of Americans are doing the right thing. Over 77% of adults have gotten at least one shot. About 23% haven't gotten any shots. And that distinct minority is causing an awful lot of us an awful lot of damage for the rest of the country.
3 months ago, this was a country that looked like it was turning the corner on the COVID pandemic. That's no longer the case. And so the reason that the president decided to have his booster shot on camera, according to the White House press secretary, Jen Psaki, is that, in fact, she said that the president wanted to demonstrate to those Americans that are still reluctant that not only is a booster necessary in some cases, but that it is safe. And so the U.S. president, as he got that booster, continued to talk to reporters throughout, showing he had no adverse reactions, something that those that are afraid or reticent about getting maybe have some reservations about. So this was the president putting his money where his mouth is, if you will. The problem for the president is that you're right. There still is a lot of division in the United States about the vaccine, a lot of concern that there could be adverse reactions. And so what we've seen is in states where there are low vaccination rates, there are high rates of hospitalizations and even deaths. In fact, globally, the United States leads in both of those categories. So the U.S. president is pushing hard, not just because he's concerned about people's health, but he also made this a priority of his presidency. And right now, he is not feeling that he's able to deliver. And so that's why he's making yet another push. He spoke about this last week to the American public, and this time he not only reminded people that he believes they need this booster in some cases, but he actually got it on camera himself.
To reopen the famous nightlife of Bangkok to international tourists amidst the coronavirus pandemic. However, there are still issues like a curfew still being in place and bars are closed.
This network of alleys in Pat Pong, usually the vibrant center of Bangkok's unique style of nightlife, now sits idle and dark. The shutters were pulled down on bars and entertainment venues in the weeks after the first cases of COVID-19 in Thailand, and have stayed down for most of the 18 months that followed, thanks to shutdowns and curfews. This part of Chinatown is home to a community of trendy, small specialty bars. Not only do bar owners view the government's handling of their industry during the pandemic as a near-death blow, but alcohol control laws predating the shutdowns have also been working against them.
I am embarrassed about this situation. Thailand is renowned for its great nightlife. Many bars here receive awards. Why doesn't the government support the industry? I think these strange laws are supported by big business to maintain their monopoly. Our voice is not loud like theirs.
Bar owners call the laws draconian, in which alcohol sales are limited to set hours during the day, heavy taxes on imports, and unequal laws only allowing large companies to brew beer and distill alcohol. A ban on alcohol advertising and internet sales are so strictly enforced, bars were fined for posting videos of cocktail making and menus for drinks delivery. Yet large breweries avoid the ban by advertising mineral water and soda that bear the same logos as their alcohol products. Here's an example of Thailand's alcohol control laws. If I were to take a selfie here in this bar and share it on social media, I could be fined up to $1,500 for indirectly advertising the brands of alcohol behind me. If I own the bar, I could be fined up to $15,000 and possibly face a year in jail. Alcohol control laws have been a contentious subject in Thailand. Historically, politically connected conservative and religious groups have worked to keep them strict. An opposition member of parliament, a former bar owner himself, is working to change the laws and save smaller bars in trouble.
When we reopen again and the tourists come again, they would find out Thailand is completely different country, it's not fun anymore, you know.
Yet some who support the alcohol laws say it's also about safety for visitors.
I think tourist safety should be a priority. I think alcohol control is necessary. If we let the alcohol sellers run free and do whatever they want, things will get messy.
Once Thailand emerges from its lockdown, curfews are lifted and the nightlife is allowed to reopen. It's unclear if it will return as it once was or a watered-down version.
Time for a preview of what's coming up on Morning Barbados. And for that, we say good morning to you, Pearson Bowen.
Good morning to you, Wendy Burke. Thank you for joining us. What do you do, Wendy, if you were to add, talking to Wendy, if you were to add Alexandra and CP together, their alumni? What do you think we get?
It's going to be a wonderful Old Scholars celebration.
I think so too. But today we'll hear from Harrison College and Queen's College when they come together in preparation for their grand reunion. And we'll want to see how they're going to do that in the face of COVID-19. They've come up with some very unique ways of bringing both alumni together. So join us for that. Also, we're in the middle of baby season. I know you're questioning whether or not we do have a baby season. Yes, we do. And so a pediatrician will join us today to talk about that. What are some of the things as you prepare to receive your new birth into this world that you should pay close attention to? And Agent Sharita will come by to answer the question, newly married, should you build, buy, rent, move into the other's property? We'll talk about that and a whole lot more straight ahead on Morning Barbados. It's back to you, Wendy.
Well, thank you, Pearson, and we'll see you at the bottom of the hour. We'll take another break and return with more news. After nearly 3 months of delays, healthcare workers will be receiving their hazard pay this week for the quarter which ended June 30th. CBC's Crystal Hoyt has that story.
Hazard pay to healthcare workers in Barbados is scheduled to be paid this week. An internal memo from Director of Human Resources Vina Williams was sent out on Friday, alerting staff that the long overdue funds would be hand-delivered via check to isolation centers, emergency services, and other QEH departments. Hazard pay for the period April 1st to June 2021 was scheduled to be paid in July, but Chief Executive Officer of the Queen Elizabeth Hospital, Juliet Bino Sutherland, revealed that the entire healthcare system was under financial strain as COVID-19 cases continue to surge across the country.
We have communicated to our staff that we are indeed late in paying the hazard payment due for the period April 1st to June 30th, 2021. However, all staff have received their regular salaries on time, as is the track record of the Finance Department. To date, staff at the isolation centers, accident and emergency, the ambulance service, and Queen Elizabeth Hospital have been paid an additional $2,750,000 on top of regular salary payment. As we would have initiated the hazard payment, we believe it is well deserved, and we are sensitive to the fact that how the delays may have caused discomfort to our staff. We are appreciative of the fact that on September 16th, the government would have gone to Parliament and passed additional supplementary funding to the Ministry of Health and the Queen Elizabeth Hospital to enable our resources to be freed up to make this payment.
A number of healthcare workers told CBC News that they felt frustrated as communication between management and staff regarding the payment of funds up until this point was one-sided. But beyond the hazard pay issue, staffing also appears to be a major concern at isolation facilities. Doctors attached to one of the 7 isolation facilities revealed that staff felt overwhelmed, with one doctor treating more than 150 COVID-positive patients per shift on some occasions. The workers say since the COVID-19 Delta variant is proving to be more deadly, now, more than ever, hazard pay is necessary. Crystal Hoyt, CBC News.
Prime Minister Mayor Amor Motley believes a complete reset of the global economic development model is urgently required. She made the point as she addressed the opening ceremony for the inaugural UNCTAD 15 Gender and Development Forum.
The economic and social impact of our current circumstances falls, regrettably, disproportionately on women and girls. That is why at this moment in time, your forum matters, your advocacy matters, and your solutions-oriented critical thinking matters. You will be meeting on the eve of the first trade ministerial to be convened post-COVID. UNCTAD 15 will certainly be affected by the realization that there is now no normal left to be returned to, and that a complete reset of the international economic development paradigm is urgently required. I've said it before and I'll repeat it here again. If at this unique moment of history we cannot succeed in moving the policy needle, then believe you me, we never will.
Barbados has not seen a downturn in global businesses interested in operating in this jurisdiction during the COVID-19 pandemic. While not giving exact numbers of new registrants, head of government's Global Business Task Force, Kevin Hunt, says more permits to operate using foreign exchange have been issued. And this is proof the market is still attractive.
Particularly as it relates to a lot of businesses that are engaged in international financial services and other geographically mobile activities. And they utilized something called a foreign currency permit. And we've seen an increase, while I don't have the figures for you, but we have seen an increase definitely, even during COVID, of entities that are applying for the foreign currency permit, which tells me that COVID has not negatively impacted businesses looking to conduct apply their trade within the Barbados framework and the Barbados structure. And I think that is something that we ought to be encouraged about.
President of the Barbados International Business Association, Derek Cummins, says the country continues to attract business in several financial areas.
We've done our very best to innovate and to bring the businesses to Barbados, but all that we do nothing to erode the project of Barbados in its totality.
The managing director of Tricor Caribbean, Connie Smith, says it's not only about global companies operating here, but also about locals offering their high-level skills on an international platform.
Barbados has been able to engage and to make people aware of the skills and resources that are available here. And we have been able successfully, I think, but there's always room for improvement in exporting our professional services. And I think that is something that we need to continue to focus on in the scheme of where we are becoming more digitally agile. Those skill sets will be called on for export continuously.
Dominica has warned that it risks not being able to meet the United Nations Sustainable Development Goals if the coronavirus pandemic continues to severely impact people and countries globally. Foreign Affairs Minister Dr. Kenneth Daru told the 76th session of the United Nations General Assembly yesterday that the country's international development partners, both bilateral and multilateral, must be responsive to the new realities. He therefore called for more creative financial instruments that take into account these new realities. Germany's center-left Social Democrats have secured a narrow win over outgoing Angela Merkel's Conservatives in national elections, with Chancellor candidate Olaf Scholz claiming a clear mandate to form the next government. The SPD won 25.7% of the vote, ahead of 24.1% for Merkel's center-right CDU-CSU conservative bloc.
With a spring in his step, Olaf Scholz meets the world's media, fresh from an election in which his party took first place. He has no doubt he should lead his country forward.
The voters have spoken very clearly. They have said who should form the next government. They have strengthened three parties, the Social Democrats, the Greens and the Free Democrats. So that's the clear mandate from the citizens of this country, that these three should lead the next government.
A three-party coalition has never been tried at the federal level, but with barely more than 1% of the vote separating the two main parties, and neither wanting to govern in a grand coalition with each other again, now the attention is on the smaller parties.
The two big parties have suffered heavy losses in recent years, and there needs to be a new push that comes into the government. So it's good that all the parties are talking to each other and not waiting to just be invited in for the talks.
The composition of the newly elected parliament is now clear, and one of the things that stands out, and is perhaps why we see this happening, the Free Democrats and the Greens are talking to each other, trying to iron out their differences, because together they form a large bloc in parliament, and they hope that that would strengthen their hand in any collective talks, either with Mr. Scholz's Social Democrats or with Mr. Laschet's Christian Democrats. Although he led his party to its worst ever defeat, Armin Laschet insists it can govern, despite coming second.
It's not automatically the case that either of the big parties is entitled to say which parties they will talk with, and the FDP and the Greens made clear yesterday that they want to talk to each other first, which I think is fine.
But not everyone in Laschet's governing party is putting on a brave face. Two CDU state prime ministers have suggested the party leaders should take responsibility for the defeat. No such thoughts over at Social Democrat headquarters. This is their first federal election win in almost 20 years, and soon they hope Olaf Scholz will replace Angela Merkel as Chancellor.
Petrol pumps in English cities are running dry after panic buying worsened shortages caused by a lack of truckers. Queues of cars snake back from filling stations across the country, swallowing up supplies and forcing many retailers to shut, despite assurances from the government that the United Kingdom is not short of fuel.
A new working week, and this isn't the normal London morning gridlock. The fuel station here ran dry 2 days ago. It's been waiting for this moment. Tanker drivers are in short supply, not the fuel. Whatever, the result's the same. Misery for some, not panic buying. Ada Babatovci ran out of fuel 100 meters from the petrol pumps after a search that started in the early hours.
And I was very emotional, so I cried. I cried with all this. It's absolutely unnecessary. I cried and I feel so emotional. I think probably a lot of people were going through a similar way.
Lives disrupted. This driving instructor trying to get fuel to prepare his learners for their driving tests.
I've got about 5-6 tests coming up between now and next week.
So I was really and truly terrified what might happen for these guys' test. So I've been going around like headless chicken around London. Nothing.
An opinion poll suggests that more than 60% of voters feel the government is mishandling the situation, and some of the messaging from ministers isn't helping the public mood.
The only reason that we have an issue at the moment with some petrol stations not having petrol in the forecourts is that people are buying petrol and they wouldn't. The most important thing everyone can do is just get back to normal, fill their cars up as they normally would, and not buy petrol unless they need it.
It would seem to be wishful thinking that this crisis is going to go away without government action. Crisis? What crisis has been the government's stance up to now? Now it's changing because people don't like being referred to as panic buyers in a situation such as this. There is a tide of public dissent. And so the pressure is on the government as the tension on the forecourts increases. Some companies have introduced rationing. Competition measures have been stopped so that fuel companies can cooperate on logistics. Another move the government has made is to try backing up UK tanker drivers with foreigners no longer able to work here because of Brexit. Short-term visas are available for 5,000 foreign truck drivers. It isn't guaranteed to work.
In sports, Jason Holder and the Sunrisers Hyderabad still have a mathematical chance of advancing to the IPL playoffs after yesterday's win over Evan Lewis and the Rajasthan Royals in Dubai. Jason Roy and Kane Williamson led Sunrisers to only their second win of 2021, with player of the match Roy making 60 from 42 balls with 8 fours and a 6 on debut, and Williamson an unbeaten 51 as they reached 167 for 3 with 9 balls to spare to win by 7 wickets. Earlier, the Royals' total of 164 for 5 was built on captain Sanju Samson's impressive 82. Lewis only made 6, while Holder had none for 27. We have the highlights. Fair, 25.4 degrees Celsius, humidity at 91%, barometric pressure of 1013.9 millibars, and the winds are coming from the east-southeast at 26 kilometers per hour. The tides, low tide will be at 1:34 p.m., high tide at 9:14 a.m., and another high tide at 8:56 p.m. And if you're heading to the beach, it will be moderate in open water, ranging from 1.5 to 2.5 meters and increasing. The forecast in Barbados today: western, northwestern, and some central districts will experience sunny with cloudy periods and scattered moderate showers and a chance of isolated thunderstorms. Tonight is expected to be a mix of clear skies with cloudy periods and a few brief scattered light showers. And here's now for a look at our international cities. That was today's morning report. You can join us again on TV8 for Newsday at noon. We now say good morning to you once again, Pearson, for Morning Barbados.
Wake up, wake up, wake up, wake up. Barbados, get up. Good morning. Good morning, Barbados. Good morning. Good morning to you. Good morning. Morning, morning, morning. Good morning to you. Good morning. Morning, Barbados. Good morning. Good morning to you. Good morning. Morning, Barbados. Good morning. Wake up, wake up, wake up. Morning to you.
Indeed, a very good morning to you on this terrific Tuesday morning, Tuesday the 28th of September 2021. I am Pearson Bowen, welcoming you here in Barbados and across the world as well, whether you're watching us on your TV screens or on your devices via our YouTube or Facebook streams as well. Grateful for your company. Now today we'll continue our conversation with that man who will go where most men will not dare go, which is to capture those exotic pets that would cause many of us quite some scare. So Ryan Ennis will be continuing with us this morning on the show. We'll also this morning be connecting once again with Thornwood, who will walk us through some of our fitness regimes as we get ourselves back into shape in this pandemic. And we'll also be hearing from Christine of Chrissy's Care. They're continuing to do great work in the care of our children on the island and offering you opportunities to engage with them and to win some prizes as well. But let's get started this morning by acknowledging the fact that there are two alumni in Barbados, the Harrison College and Queen's College Alumni Associations, who've come together for a grand reunion. Very different, very unique. They've come together. That's one thing that makes it all different. Joining us to talk a little bit more about that this morning, representing the QC alumni, is Mary Simmons, and Harrison College alumni is Paulavette Atkinson. Good morning, both of you.
Good morning. Good morning
Thank
to
you so much.
And morning, Barbados.
Thank you for joining us. This is not heard of before. Both alumni is coming together to celebrate in this way. Why are you doing this? Mary, can you explain to us why it's happening this way?
Well, we just want to rekindle alumni spirit, and we've had a long tradition of collaboration. So we're just building on that long tradition of collaboration. And we also feel that to whom much is given, much is required. So we have a big plan not only to inspire those who follow us, but also to raise funds to contribute to continued educational excellence for not only for the schools, but for Barbados, the region, and the world.
I see that you've reached out not just to the past students here in Barbados, but across the US and Canada as well. How have they been responsive to this initiative?
We are having a tremendous response. We really aim to have about 500 people participate. We have a committee that's comprised of chapters of the alumni associations. In the US and Canada, we have joint associations, and we've joined with the local associations here. So we're making a massive outreach everywhere, not only in those places, but across the world.
So the purpose is for fundraising. What are some of the initiatives that you're hoping to achieve by the fundraising?
So in the fundraising, we actually aim to raise 2 million Barbados dollars for priority projects of the schools. These include at Queen's College, upgrading the science lab, for example. At Harrison College, building a robotics lab, and also a food science lab. In addition to that, we want to upgrade. Queen's College has done great work in the performing arts, and we want to upgrade the hall where students can get access to state-of-the-art equipment for the performing arts. So there's just a few examples of the things for which we are fundraising. We also want to inspire, and so through inspiration, we will be recognizing, under the patronage of the Governor General, alumni who have excelled in their fields on a Night of the Stars award, which will be open to the general public. Paula Bett will talk about how we'll get the students together, past students together for the meet and greet. Yeah.
So Paula Bett, your turn to boast
Yes.
now. We just heard from Miriam about Queen's College about what they hope to achieve by the fundraising. What is Harrison College to how is Harrison College to benefit through the fundraising? And then you tell me then how we're going to get the students together.
Thank you, Pearson. And certainly Harrison College will contribute to the development, the continued development of all of our students, and certainly to upgrade our physical plant, as Mary mentioned. On the night of October the 9th, the actual night of the Grand Reunion, we will like to engage all of our past alumni through the meet and greet segment. This will kick off around 5:30, and we are asking everyone to register. We have an e-invite, and if you have not received it as yet, just reach out to us at 2020@hcqcgathering.com, and we'll have that sent to you. But on the night, it will be exciting because this is the time to come together, to see people whom you have not engaged with potentially since you left school, to reminisce, to have fun. So we will have persons pre-assigned to breakout rooms by decade. And in those breakout rooms, there will be a lot of fun activities and discussions. And we have some very engaging activities planned to create that atmosphere of fun and togetherness and really reminisce about what makes us Arizonians, what makes us QC alumni, and, you know, to propel that spirit of togetherness and to really reunite in the interest of our schools.
We're operating within constricts within the pandemic. So talk to me a little bit about how this meet and greet will play out. In what spaces will you be having your breakout rooms so that we can all engage as past students?
Well, of course, the entire Grand Reunion will be streamed, and it's a virtual event. So that is why we're encouraging persons to register as early as possible so that we can have you pre-assigned to those breakout rooms. In light of COVID, we are following all of the government health and other protocols, and only a small team will be on site to facilitate the IT infrastructure. But everyone from around the world, Canada, the United States, locally, and abroad, is welcome to log on, to register first, and to log on and to engage with fellow alumni.
So what happens in those breakout rooms, just out of curiosity? So if I'm a decade of the 80s student, what's going to happen there in that room?
Well, I don't want to give it all away, of course, but certainly when you get into your breakout room, you will see your counterparts, you will see your old school mates, and we will reminisce about some of those titillating things that didn't happen necessarily in the classroom.
Right.
Reminisce about all those fun things, the naughty people, you know, all those times at school sports. You know, really get together and have some fun, see each other, and recall past times, past memories, and look forward, because we certainly want to propel that spirit of togetherness and to help our alumni understand how they can engage, not only through things like memorabilia, but certainly to put forward contributions in cash and in kind to propel the further excellence of our schools.
Absolutely. Now, Mary, you did mention about the Night of the Stars Awards. So how is that going to work? And how do people be a part of it?
So we have been working on this for well over a year. We have invited nominations. We got hundreds of nominations. We had a nominating committee that did a very arduous job of shortlisting. And then the steering committee has met and determined who the winners would be. Those awards then will be presented on the 9th of October at the event, the virtual event being held under the patronage of the Governor General. Not only that, but we have a commemorative publication in which there will be a collection of bios that we've been collecting for over a year, and that will include the winners. So we also invite people to purchase a copy of the commemorative publication and learn and be inspired, especially the youth, not only of Harrison College and Queen's College, but all schools in Barbados, about what Barbadians are doing locally, regionally, and globally.
For the commemorative book, I know you're taking pre-orders. You have until the end of this month to get your pre-order in. So whom do we turn for pre-ordering?
You would just contact us at 2020 HCQC Gathering without a G at gmail.com. 2020 HCQC Gathering without a G at gmail.com.
To pre-order the book. And for the awards, do we have to subscribe to be a part of the award, or is it just an open forum where any and everyone can come and bask in the glory?
Yes, the general public is invited to the exciting evening, and it will be available on YouTube, and we will be sending out the link a week before. So save the date for an exciting evening.
And that's on October the 9th, by the way.
Yes.
Now, for you, Paulavette, so tell folks who are watching, past students and current students as well, who want to be a part of that reunion and perhaps find themselves in their decade room, how can they sign up and register? Where can they do so?
Once again, you can contact us to receive that e-invite, and it's again 2020 HCQC Gathering, as Mary mentioned, without the G at gmail.com. And we urge you to respond yes, click yes on the e-invite as soon as possible so that we can get those breakout rooms organized, and we can meet and greet and reminisce and reunite in a spirit of togetherness.
Is there still going to be the concert? I know you're well known for that concert of excellence as well. So is that still a part of the plan?
You're talking about Mosaic, and you will see, again, we don't want to give it all away, but you'll see some highlights from our stars in the artistic realm from across not only Harrison College, but Queen's College. So it all plans to be a wonderful event, and we urge alumni to just get on board, get your e-invites, click yes, and you're on your way to meeting and greeting and reuniting with us on October 9th.
Something tells me that all of your alumni across the world are going to be a part of it, so they'll get their e-invites. But if they wanted to go one place to see what's going on, what's happening, so they're kept abreast, where can they go so that they can follow event by event and date by date what's going on?
Well, follow us on Facebook. That's www.facebook.com/HCQC Alumni.
HCQC Alumni on Facebook, and that's where you go and you can see all of the events and just to get a taste of what's coming up as well, and perhaps use that space too to ask questions, to seek clarity on anything as well, or you can drop in the email too as well. So the first thing, order of business is to pre-order the book. It's what that commemorative book is going to be, vast with information and anecdotes and just celebration of some of the excellence from both colleges, Harrison College and Queen's College. But then there's also the night of the Stars Awards, which is coming up in October, on the 9th of October. All alumni, come on, get your e-invites and be a part of it as well. And all of us in Barbados, we can watch it and we can share in the celebration as well. I think this is a great start for what is possible. And I want to thank both of you for coming by to tease us about it, because I know it's going to turn out to be something grand as well. Harrison College and the Queen's College coming together, both alumni. Mary Simmons and Paulavette Atkinson, thank you so much for joining us this morning about this. All the best.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
You're very welcome. Morning Barbados will continue right after this.
Morning, morning, morning. Good morning. Good morning to you. Morning, morning. Good morning. Good morning to you.
It's 14 minutes now to go to the hour of 7 o'clock as we turn our attention to the ongoing excellence at Chrissy's Care. Founder, operator, owner of Chrissy's Care is Christine Roberts. Christine, good morning to you.
Good morning, Pearson.
Good to see you again, Christine. It's been a little while. How are things going?
Yeah. We're going good. We're adapting well.
So what have you done to adapt?
We use more technology. We created plans where you give persons at-home programs and then they just drop off at certain times so that we can still get the engagement. Since we were given some allowance, we started to do our swimming on Fridays. So we're keeping children engaged.
Right.
Those are the children at Chrissy's Care. However, Pearson, it was back to school time, it was common entrance time, and we were getting a lot of feedback and persons were interested in saying, you know what, we have a problem with poor writing skills in children. And Chrissy's Care took up this challenge and we said, we are going to help these children. So we're going to give them opportunities. We conducted seminars on Zoom where we did interview techniques, we did resume writing, and we even did essay writing. And now we are going to test these skills again by having more essay competitions.
That's what you love to do. You just love to make people write. And you're doing it so well. The response over the times that you've done it before has been outstanding. And again, you want to encourage more of that because the skill of writing tells a lot. So talk to me a little bit about the benefit you see from engaging in essay writing.
Pearson, we started to text write, and sometimes we can't even verbally communicate. So then when we try to write, it even shows how much of a problem this is in our society currently. So we are trying to get persons to understand you can express yourself in a number of ways. You express yourself by the way you carry yourself, the way you dress, the way you speak, and by the way you write. Chrissy's Care is not part of the Give Back program, and even when persons are writing to volunteer or be a part of what Chrissy's Care is doing, Pearson, you can see, you can see the poor quality. They have like good skills, they have potential, but the writing skills, and you don't want to miss an opportunity for a job or to get into a college or university because your writing skills is poor. You can't express yourself, and we need to work on this with the younger generation so that we can have a better and more productive older and working generation.
You are so right, Christine. Honestly, I mean, I see the correspondence come in, and because they're writing to you via email, they think that they can say, when they want to say the word Y-O-U, they just put the letter U. And it cringes my spirit. It's like, listen, this is business, you know. This is not a casual conversation you and I are having. You are approaching a business space legitimately, and so address it properly. And so therefore, I see the benefit of all that you're doing. So you're write an essay on why I love my school. Tell me a little bit about that one.
More schools are having Kamamere Week, Springer Week this week, and persons when it's back school time, wearing the ties, proud and supporting the schools. They have alumni, and their alumni are doing things for both past and present students, and everyone is so engaged in it. But then have you ever sat down and thought about why I love my school? Sometimes when you're doing common entrance, it's like, I want to go to this school, I want to go to that school. Some people are excited to go to the school that they pass through, then some of them are sad about it, and then it grows on you. But why? Why do you love your school? Did you ever thought about it, Pearson?
Of course I do. Of course I do. Up to this morning before we started, you know, because our technical director and myself, we went to Coleridge and Barry, and we were having a discussion. I must apologize. I can't believe I had that very bad slip. But Coleridge and Barry is our school, and Wendy Burke, she went to the Alexandra School, and we were talking a little bit about that as well while I was also engaging just a moment ago with the Queen's College and Harrison College alumni. So yes, I think about it a lot, so much so that sometimes you become quite emotional when those memories flood you. So I could take why you want to look at this as a subject, why I love my school. Let it pour out as well onto the paper.
The impact that it made in terms of in your life. Because I went to Springer, I am proud to be a member of Springer. It says members one of another, and I believe that Springer helped me to become the person that I am today. When I tell persons that I was really, really shy and I could not speak, and they're like, "You? No, not you."
Christine,
And yes,
Christine, anybody who knows me as a boy growing up will say to you they are shocked at what I do now. Because I was like you, mousy, quiet, nothing to say, quietly moving along. And here is it, this boy talking forevermore. So I understand what you're talking about, the change that your school can make in you. And then in recognizing that as well, you can put that down in your essay. Why you love your school, what kind of impact has your school made on you? So this essay is open to which category of people?
is between the ages of 7 and 21, because we realize that one, the primary schools need the support and practice, and then the ones transitioning from primary to secondary, and then those who are transitioning from secondary to tertiary, whether it's BCC or university, they too really need to have this practice and this writing skills. So we just made an age range of 7 to 21.
So 7 to 21, do you have any limits in terms of the number of words on an essay, or is it just open to as many pages as you care to write?
As many pages, but honestly, most persons write only like 1 page. And then the catch is that when you write about why you love your school, we're going to give your school a prize so that they can help at least 5 children in the school who may need some support and help, whether it is tutoring or stationery or books.
So we're winning prizes for our school. We're not winning prizes necessarily for ourselves.
Yes, yourself too, yes.
Okay, just want to make sure I put all my energy into that and got nothing for it. So we're winning prizes for ourselves and for our schools as well. So where do we send our submissions?
To chrissyscare@gmail.com. That is CHRISYSCARE@gmail.com.
All right, so that's one essay. Why I love my school. That's why. And what's the deadline for submission, by the way, for this one?
October 9th.
Okay, so we have until the 9th of October to get our essays together for those of you between 7 to 21 years, and you can write as long as you'd like and submit it to chrissyscare@gmail.com. There's also another one that you have coming up looking at disaster preparedness.
Yes. So this is another area where a company, because Chrissy's Care, we are reaching out to persons. We are trying to engage the youth and persons in Barbados, but we can't do it on our own. So we're getting a lot of support. Persons are coming in and saying, okay, we need persons to be aware of this, or we need persons to be aware of that. Can you do something to help in this area? And this is something that happened with the Christchurch East Central District Emergency Organization. They reached out to Chrissy's Care and said, we need persons to become more prepared to understand that it's hurricane season, yes, but there are also other disasters. We had the impact of the La Soufrière volcano in St. Vincent. We recently started having earthquakes, and there was even a reported case of a tornado in Trinidad. We need persons to understand we need to be prepared and what we need to do to be prepared. So we partnered with the Christchurch East Central DEO to have a essay competition again, where persons will write on Hurricane Elsa or how they or their family prepare during disaster preparedness time.
And it causes you to focus, because oftentimes we assume that when we run something on radio, we run something on television, people get it. And so with all the talk, we don't necessarily do to match that talk. And so you're asking people to focus a little bit. How do you prepare for a disaster, really? Looking at Hurricane Elsa, and we know what happened to a lot of us during Hurricane Elsa, or generally, how does my family prepare for a disaster? All forms of disasters happen, not just hurricanes. You're quite right. We would have had a little bit of a jolt. You probably were too young to remember that one, when the earth shook here in Barbados and everybody ran outside, and we were... You remember?
Yes.
Listen, I was upstairs here at the CBC. I had not yet eaten. And so I felt, wait, I'm feeling ill. And then I realized I heard Yolanda Yard, who was a little bit heavy, running down the corridor screaming, everybody out, get out, everybody got it. And then I realized it wasn't just about me. And so we all gathered outside. So I remember it very, very well. So we were saying, how does my family prepare for a disaster? What's my family plan? Who takes charge? Where do we go?
And to be effective, because during Hurricane Elsa, a lot of things came out. Persons were complaining that, oh, their meat spoiled or their ice cream, and we want persons to be mindful, not just to do something, but to be conscious of what you're doing and why you're doing it. During hurricane or disaster time is not time for you to be buying a lot of refrigerated items, and that was a major concern takeaway from persons in this area, where you're stocking up on chicken and ice cream and then all of these things are spoiling, and then you have to be mindful of your surroundings, and that yes, your neighbor might leave garbage outside, but you have to sometimes be the bigger person and to see, my neighbor doing this affects me because I am flooding and not my neighbor. Yes, you're going to be annoyed, but sometimes you have to do what you need to do as a person to save yourself and your personal items.
You're quite right. So we have until the 23rd of October to submit entries for this essay competition as well. And where do we send our contributions?
To the Christchurch East Central DEO@gmail.com. You can also forward it to chrissyscare@gmail.com. Either way, they will get your essay.
And again, there's no limit on the number of words. There's no limit on the number of pages as well you can submit on this one too. Great idea. Open to 7 to 16. We're just looking at that particular cohort. 7 to 16 years old. And then you're so busy. I don't know where you find the time to be doing and organizing all of this. There's a recipe competition coming up as well.
Yes. Pharmacy Sales, in conjunction with Pediatric, has been a really good supporter of Chrissy's Care from the time we started having our fun day extravaganza, from the time we started doing essay competition, virtual talent shows, and trying to engage the public and the youth in Barbados. They have came on board and they would donate Pediatrics. There are times when we were in lockdown and we said, okay, we have a family and they need some stuff. They really would come and they would donate, whether it's Pediatrics or any of their other products. And they said to me, Chrissy's Care, we want you to reach out to persons and to let them see that, you know, there are nutritional things to the Pediasure, the even Glucerna, the Ensure, those sort of things. And then I said, you know what, let's show them that we can use it for something other than drinking. So the competition is a recipe competition where you have to use 2 ingredients with the Pediasure, and you're going to submit your video or a photo with the recipe to show us what you came up with. And so far, Pearson, it have been some very creative ideas.
Oh Lord, I can't wait to hear what those are. So we have until the 16th of October to get our submissions in. Christine, thank you for being busy. Thank you for being as creative as you are, and thank you for joining us this morning on Morning Barbados as well. All the best with everything going forward, Christine.
Thank you for having me.
You're very welcome. Christine Roberts of Chrissy's Care, a number of activities in which you can engage. We'll post all of these on our Facebook page, on Morning Barbados Facebook page, so you can keep track. We're coming back right after this on Morning Barbados.
Morning, morning, morning. Good morning. Good morning to you. Morning, morning, morning. Good morning. Good morning to you.
Still to come, our pediatrician, Dr. Julian Birchwood, tells us we're in the middle of the baby season, and what can we do to expect? What can we expect as these newborns are made? It's 7 o'clock. Time for us to take a look at the news. Once again, here's Wendy Burke.
Successive triple-digit days of positive COVID-19 cases have been stretching this island's main and temporary isolation facilities to the limit. The acknowledgement from Health Minister Jeffrey Bostic, who says the total of isolation facilities now numbers about 8 and include at least 5 schools. He was at the time responding to a video that was circulated on Sunday in which a woman was expressing concern about a lack of beds and other facilities at the Blackman and Gollop isolation site. Speaking during a brief media conference last evening, Minister Bostic said, among other things, government will be looking to very shortly implement a secure home quarantine and isolation system. His ministry will also be meeting today with the Ministry of People Empowerment to address the issue of families, where positive senior members have to be isolated, along with negative children, elderly, or disabled family members.
Because of the large numbers that we've been getting, which means that we are obviously challenged for bed space, and the large number of children who are accompanying positive cases at all of the isolation facilities, including Harrison Point. We in the Ministry of Health and Wellness have made a determination that we must consult with the Ministry of People Empowerment and Elderly Affairs to be able to get some assistance and some guidance from that ministry, because they have the expertise to assist us in dealing with children who accompany positive parents to isolation facilities. And this is a meeting we're going to have tomorrow to see if we can come up with a plan to deal with that. Because with the greatest will in the world, there's no way that we can anticipate how many people are going to be turning up at a facility that are not positive.
While expressing regret about the situation that resulted in the video, Minister Bostic also expressed concern that it was circulated in the first place, since it would have violated the quarantine and isolation protocols. He says it casts a dark shadow on the operations of the facility and its hard-working staff. Prime Minister Mia Moore-Motley believes a complete reset of the global economic development model is urgently required. She made the point as she addressed the opening ceremony for the inaugural UNCTAD 15 Gender and Development Forum.
The economic and social impact of our current circumstances falls, regrettably, disproportionately on women and girls. That is why at this moment in time, your forum matters, your advocacy matters, and your solutions-oriented critical thinking matters. You will be meeting on the eve of the first trade ministerial to be convened post-COVID. UNCTAD 15 will certainly be affected by the realization that there is now no normal left to be returned to, and that a complete reset of the international economic development paradigm is urgently required. I've said it before and I repeat it here again. If at this unique moment of history we cannot succeed in moving the policy needle, then believe you me, we never will.
Barbados has not seen a downturn in global businesses interested in operating in this jurisdiction during the COVID-19 pandemic. While not giving exact numbers of new registrants, head of government's Global Business Task Force, Kevin Hunt, says more permits to operate using foreign exchange have been issued, and this is proof that the market is still attractive.
Particularly as it relates to a lot of businesses that are engaged in international financial services and other geographically mobile activities. And they utilized something called a foreign currency permit. And we've seen an increase, while I don't have the figures for you, but we have seen an increase definitely, even during COVID, of entities that are applying for the foreign currency permit, which tells me that COVID has not negatively impacted businesses looking to conduct apply their trade within the Barbados framework and the Barbados structure. And I think that is something that we ought to be encouraged about.
That's news, and now it's time for Pearson and more Morning Barbados.
Thank you, Wendy. The time is 5 minutes after 7 o'clock. We're taking a break here. When we come back, a very simple question for you in our Crumbs question of the day.
Morning, morning, morning. Good morning to you. Morning, morning. Good morning. Good morning to you.
All right, 6.5 minutes after the hour now. Production crew, I'm going to do this a little differently because the question is so simple. The question is so simple. Here's what I'm going to do. You call me and then I'll ask you the question. Let's not show them the question before I ask. So 228-5562 or 228-5563. It's time for today's Crumbs question of the day. It's a very simple question. So call me first, then I'll ask you the question. 228-5562 or 228-5563. I promise you it's a very easy question. It's not going to hurt you. So call me now. 228-5562. Let's be a winner. Or 228-5563. Good morning to you. Hello.
Good morning, Pearson.
Is this Melda?
Yes, it is.
Melda, how are you doing today?
I'm good.
Oh, good to hear you. We had some rain over the weekend. Did you get any?
No.
No?
We didn't get any in St. Philip.
Melda, you need to move. You don't think so? What, don't you think you need to move and go wherever the rain is falling for just a little while, enjoy it, and then you head back home?
No. I can't leave St. Philip.
It's only for a little while. You know, sometimes when I hear the weather forecast and I'm hearing all of these possible thunderstorms to the central and western and northern areas, I'm thinking, I just need to be a rain tracker. Go there, enjoy it for just a moment and come back. You know, it makes you feel that way. So how are you managing in the heat, though?
I'm trying to survive. Keeping hydrated and try to keep out of the sun as much as possible.
That's important, that's right. But you know, in being hydrated, I hope you're just drinking water, not simply just sugary beverages.
No, I don't drink the sugary beverage at all. It's either coconut water or plain water.
That is an excellent alternative. Coconut water is filled with all those electrolytes that will help to return the fluids to the body.
That's
what
right.
about drinking tea when you're hot? Do you do that?
Well, people tell me that cools you down, but somehow
you can't see it.
I don't like drinking hot beverage when I'm hot.
Smart woman. you just think it will just make you sweat even more. No, it doesn't. It actually causes your pores to open up and you are cool again.
Yes.
So, have you prepared lunch? Yes, please.
I want to say something first before you ask me that question.
Sure.
I was real disappointed last week. Imagine you would have to talk to the management of Crispy's or Crumbs.
All right, tell you what, you call me back. You call me back after the show. We can talk about that. All right? Is that fair?
Well,
right, so
I have a question that I can answer now.
I have a question that you could answer. Your question is, Melda, what is Barbados' national dish?
Oh, flying fish and cuckoo.
You see what I tell you? I told you it was going to be easy. Flying fish and cuckoo, absolutely right. I knew you'd get it right, Melda. You stay on the phone, all right? Thank you so much for engaging with me this morning, though, by the way. You stay right there. We'll take some more information from you, okay?
Okay.
Thank you, Melda. Take care. Melda, isn't she sweet? Lovely lady there from St. Philip. She's absolutely right in saying to us that our national dish is flying fish and cuckoo. I can hear the noses, I can see the noses of the little ones saying, cuckoo. Yes, cuckoo and flying fish, our national dish. We're going to take a break right here and we're back with even more on Morning Barbados.
Morning, morning, morning. Good morning. Good morning to you. Morning. Good morning. Good morning to you.
We're 12 and a half minutes now after 7 o'clock, and a number of you watching us right now on your streams on YouTube and our Facebook streams. You're very fortunate. We've had a power outage here in Barbados, and it has impacted our MCTV and TV8 channels, and we do apologize for that, but thank you for staying with us on our streams. If you know anyone, anywhere, who might have been watching us on television, you can give a call to and say to them, switch to online, switch to the Facebook stream, switch to the YouTube channel stream as well. Tell them so they miss nothing about which we're talking today. So just take some time and call someone you know and tell them, no, come onto Facebook, come onto YouTube. It's still going there because there's a power outage that has impacted our ability to deliver via our traditional forms of delivery of our content. Let's continue now as we turn our attention to our pediatric care. Joining us is our favorite pediatrician, Dr. Gillian Birchwood. Dr. Birchwood, good morning to you.
Good morning, Pearson. How are you doing today?
I'm well. Clearly the power is still on by you.
There was a little blip just now and I was wondering what it was, but now I understand what it was.
Yes, that's what happened, unfortunately. So, we're talking today, you said to me, we're in the middle of the annual baby season, and then my mind started to calculate. It's September is the 9th month of the year. And we go right back to Christmas period. Hey, everybody's having a grand old time. But I never knew there was an annual baby season till now.
Yes, there is. Everyone who's in the profession of dealing with pregnant women and newborn babies knows that in the first half of the year, we have about 40% of the total deliveries. But in the second half of the year, we have about 60% of the deliveries for the year. And especially between September and November, we get the majority of our deliveries, and we call that baby season. So it is on right now.
Wow, that's interesting. Never knew. Well, I was born in January. That makes me very, very special because I'm not among the bunch. that makes us unique in that sense. That's good. But it's good to hear that we do have that happening. So when that happens, obviously now the resources are going to be stretched somewhat because there's so many deliveries to happen. So talk to me a little bit about what you consider to be, is there anything different or normal or not about a baby who is born at this peak period?
Well, you know, babies who are born at this time, they're pretty much similar to other babies, but we do see a lot more premature babies being born around August or so, I guess ahead of the peak season when the babies would be born at around 9 months of age. So we do see a lot of premature babies born at this time, but in general, they're quite similar. I wouldn't say that they are different in any way from the babies who are born at the regular time. But, you know, because we have so many babies born at this time, we have a lot of new parents with a lot of worries and concerns, of course.
Of course. And we just want to welcome back viewers, by the way. We've just been able to restore power, and we can see that we're back on TV and we're back on MCTV. So you're just in time, folks, to join us as we're talking here to our favorite pediatrician, Dr. Gillian Birchwood, looking at the baby season and the fact that, you know, there are many parents who are now experiencing childbirth for the very first time. And so when that happens, what are some of the things that they need to be aware of?
Well, there are certain things that parents are always worried about. The first thing is that parents are under the misconception that babies are incredibly fragile. And the truth is, babies are very, very tough. So parents are often afraid of handling babies, and particularly fathers are very afraid of handling babies, that they will hurt them accidentally. You have to remember that most babies are born after the process of labor. Labor is a very intense process for the mother, and the baby is on the receiving end. When a baby is born, their head is often literally squashed completely out of shape during the process of labor. And yet all that baby can think about 5 minutes after birth is, when can I be fed? So babies are very tough. So we don't need to be afraid about handling them. And that's one major thing we need to be aware of.
You said the baby's head is crushed out of shape. So how does it, because I suppose that's what I suffered from. My head is not symmetrical at all. So, but how do you get it back into some shape that everybody recognizes to be a normal shape head?
Well, it's quite amazing. It's a completely natural process. So babies' heads are not made up of one solid bone like ours. There isn't just one skull bone. They're made up of lots of little bones and spaces, so that their head, their bones in their head literally shift around, and the baby's head adapts to the shape of the mother's pelvis on the inside. So even if a baby is born with a very pointy cone-shaped head because of the process of delivery, within a couple of days, the baby's head really noticeably rounds out. So sometimes you see a worried look on parents' face when the baby is born because they see the shape of the baby's head. And I know they're worried, is this what my baby will look like? But the baby's head rounds out very quickly into a nice round shape all by itself. You don't have to do anything.
You don't have to do anything. But the baby is floppy. You know, there's some fathers who are saying, I can't hold this little thing because it seems so I'm going to break it, it's going to fall, I'm going to tear it, something. So assure fathers and those who are in that way sensitive, that is okay. The child is fine.
Yes, you know, babies are incredibly tough. They're built to withstand the process of labor, and just handling a baby from day to day, you would have to really go out of your way to harm a baby. And you know, fathers don't always admit it. Sometimes I see the look on their face. They don't always admit it to their partner that they're afraid to handle the baby. They will just hold back and they'll say, no, you go ahead and change the pamper. You go ahead and do this because they don't want to admit they're afraid to handle the baby. So I always tell dads, no, your big hands will not harm baby. You go right ahead. And I handle people's babies much more gently than I handled my own because I'd already been doing pediatrics before I had my own children.
Right.
But they're very tough.
It's a tough learning curve for fathers. My father didn't want to deal with babies at all until they grow older and tougher, then he could get involved. But before then, too small, too tiny. But then there's I've always thought of the care of the neck. You always hear, support the head, watch. And talk to us about that because the neck can't handle the weight of the head.
Yes. So although babies are tough, they do require some special care. So yes, the biggest part of a baby is actually their head, and their head is quite heavy. And in the beginning, the baby doesn't have much development. And so the muscles of the neck, which are required to hold up the relatively large head, are often not strong enough to really do so. So when you're holding a baby, yes, you should hold the baby in a way that you support the back of the head. And it's very instinctive for parents. And during the first couple of months, as the baby's neck strength begins to improve and that baby's head is less wobbly, you see the parents also instinctively holding up the head less. They will not even realize that this is something they have transitioned to as the baby develops. So although, yes, you may need to hold the baby in a very supportive way, support the back, support the baby underneath their bum when you're holding them over your shoulder and support the head, definitely the need for that changes drastically during the first 3 months as that baby develops.
But you know, the baby sends you a signal. The baby begins to push against that hand, and right away you know, okay, hey, you're flexing. We know now that you're becoming a lot stronger. So the cues and the clues are there as well. So, but it's important to communicate that in that way, to be as sensitive to the child so that you recognize its development as the child grows.
Yes, they let you know, they guide you in terms of their development. So as you said, you'll feel them pushing and stretching. When you are holding them forward in your arms and their feet are touching the bed, you'll feel them pushing against their legs and trying to weight bear. And this will often make parents feel, oh no, if I allow the baby to bear weight in the legs, then my baby is going to have, bowed legs. Actually, that's definitely not true. We can't expect a baby to stand up and walk until that baby has strengthened their legs. And so they will do what I call baby squats. You'll see them push down and then push back up and push down and push back up. And that's how they begin the process of strengthening their legs and preparing themselves for walking, which is going to come later. So don't be afraid to let them weight bear. This is how they are going to grow and develop. And when they have had enough of it, they will just, allow themselves to be put down and they will complain accordingly.
At what stage do you put that baby into water to bathe it?
That's a great question because the practice varies tremendously across the world. So in the Caribbean, we are very cleanliness obsessed. And so from the beginning, we're going to put those babies in water to bathe them. But, having worked in other countries, the practice is quite different. The recommendation in other countries is often that you should not put the baby in water until after the cord has dropped off. But having worked in both types of scenarios, I wouldn't say that there's a difference in the rates of infection. So putting the baby in water to bathe the baby, we do not do that until at least 24 hours after the baby is born, because the baby can become very cold. But after that, there certainly is no harm in putting the baby in a basin of water, of warm water, of course, to have a bath.
Of course. Then it comes, the baby's born. There's some other people in the house as well, not just parents. And so how do we elicit their support? Because there's some older ones who are simply saying, I don't want that little one in here. I'm challenged by this new birth. So how do we begin that process of acclimatizing to this new baby?
Yes, it's so important to remember the older children who would be in the household. Often they're very excited if they're old enough to understand. They're very excited about the prospect of having a baby in the house, but they don't understand what that entails. It means that mommy and daddy are going to be very busy taking care of that baby and will initially have less time for you. So because it can be such a dramatic shift, if you don't prepare, that child can become very jealous. So there are several tips that you can use in order to prepare the child. One, of course, is to talk about it, read stories about it, and prepare them emotionally. The second is before the baby is born, for at least a month before the baby is born, if mom is the one who primarily cares for that older child at bedtime, for example, you need to switch over to dad, because mom is not going to consistently be able to do that after birth, and a sudden change is going to cause the child to potentially be resentful. The third is to enlist other family members, bring in grand, cousins, the aunties, the godparents, to step in and pay that child extra attention after the baby is born. And last but not least, make sure to have a present for the new big brother, because everybody showers attention on the new baby. You make sure you have a present and you can tell them this present is from your baby sister or brother. They were so excited to find out they had you as a big brother or sister, and they wanted you to have this gift. And that can help to make them feel included as well. It's really important.
I love that. Let's celebrate the birth of the baby by also giving you a gift. It's a new gift to you too. But the baby is not a toy. The baby is not a little fad, a little fantasy that you play with to the point where you can discard it. It's a child, it's a human being. Are you seeing a lot of, because we're living in COVID now, are you seeing a lot of instances where COVID positive mothers are giving birth to babies or babies who are COVID positive?
Well, Barbados is no exception. The world has seen during this time of the COVID pandemic that positive mothers have given birth to babies, and Barbados is no exception. There have, of course, been births of babies to moms who are COVID positive. So looking at things globally, because at this time, moms who are positive may be anxious, what will happen to my baby because I have COVID, for example. And one of the things that is very reassuring, as has been seen around the world, is that very, very, very few babies whose moms are COVID positive actually do have complications afterward. It is possible, but it is rare. So the way that most babies can contract COVID is not typically during the process of labor or immediately after, but from the mom to the baby if the mom doesn't take the precautions of hand hygiene and mask wearing. So moms who have babies during this time who are COVID positive must wear a mask when they're caring for their baby. They must have hand hygiene, because that is the point of greatest risk to the baby, not so much during the pregnancy or the labor process. So we have seen certainly cases here, as have been seen around the world.
We couldn't underscore that sufficiently. Thank you so much, Dr. Birchwood, as always, for joining us on a Tuesday morning to teach us so much more about the care of these beautiful people called babies. And just human, they're just human beings. And you know how passionate I am about the babies, for real. They're so sweet and precious indeed. Thank you so much, as always, for joining us.
Thank you. Have a great day.
You're very welcome. Likewise. Morning Barbados continues right after this.
Morning, morning, morning. Good morning. Good morning to you. Morning, morning. Good morning. Good morning to you.
Time for us to continue our conversation with that man who will go where most men will not. He goes into the wild. He goes to capture those exotic animals and stuff like that. Ryan Innes, the owner of the Marizera Sanctuary. Good morning again to you, Ryan.
Good morning to you, Pearson, and thanks for having me again on your show.
Listen, yesterday you left a lot of us with cold bumps just watching what you do and the places that you go for real. So let's talk a little bit more about that. How did you get this expertise and this pluck to go do what you do?
This started many years ago, where my father, he was always into exotic animals. So then obviously I took up that trade from quite early. Mm-hmm. And I mean, it also started then from my previous career, being a police officer. Anytime that we had any cases to deal with animals, my sergeant would always tell me, hey, Ines, you're the person who have the experience. So you got to go and do this stuff. And I was actually named the animal detective. That's what that name actually came about. So then it was a continuing trend. My passion is actually then to save animals. So that's why then I moved on to my own business, to be getting out there and saving animals one day at a time.
What was the scariest encounter you've ever had with any of those exotic animals?
Actually, an iguana. No, it wasn't scary. Not the animal, but we've been to the call where this iguana was actually in a gooseberry tree. Mm-hmm. And anybody knowing a gooseberry tree, it has a very fragile limb. So there I am. I went up, secured the animal, and just as I was returning back down, the limb that I was standing on, it broke.
Oh dear. And down you came.
That was the experience for me. And here I am trying to make sure that the animal, and that was actually the big laughter after. Here I'm trying to make sure that the animal does not get away. And they're in a fall trying to do everything at one time.
Ryan, what's
so that was my we actually have a guest today, if you
Ryan, I'm closing my eyes.
This is it. She was actually a rescue. She came here in 2020, in March 2020. So she was actually a rescue. And it basically just goes to show that when she first came, she was very aggressive. And with constant work and stuff like that, she's now one of the ambassadors here at the sanctuary.
Oh, okay.
So this is Sage. And when you come over to the sanctuary, we actually use her as an educational tool to tell when we go into schools and stuff like that, to educate persons that she's not that bad. All right. So, Pearson, we also invite you to come over and have.
Not to have her crawl on me. But you know, look at her. Look, it must feel. I don't know what does it feel like to have her crawl across you.
But it has a leathery texture. Mm-hmm. A kind of canvas. That's the feeling. Okay. But as you can see, she's not doing me anything. She's very passive, awesome iguana. Very awesome iguana. And that's what we do here. After the animals come into our sanctuary, we try to work with them as much as possible, so that then too they can become an ambassador, even if they have to be rehomed, that they wouldn't be aggressive to people and stuff like that.
So you domesticate them so that she's calm.
Exactly.
Okay.
She just sits here. Sits here.
But does she stay green all her life, or will she change color at some point?
Well, she changes the color of the green. All depends on the sunlight and stuff like that. That's why when in captivity, these animals need to be kept in sunlight. They need to be allowed to have some basket area that there can be allowed sunlight, direct sunlight. Because remember, when they're in the wild, they would actually go up to the top of the trees, that they would have direct sunlight onto them. So that would change the color initially.
Because I've seen brown iguanas.
Brown. No, here in Barbados, that's a different species of iguana. That's more like the Bahamian iguana. But here in Barbados, we have you will find the West Indian iguana. Speaking to you, Pearson.
Good morning to you too. Stay where you are, iguana. You know, no. The reason I've said because I've seen one in Montserrat, and and they can get very tough. They can get very hard.
Yes, very much so.
Because I remember once being in a car in Montserrat, and all I heard was crunch, because it had gone over one of them.
Ooh.
Yeah, that was my reaction too.
But it survived?
I don't know. I didn't look. I just moved on.
Okay. Yeah, but reptiles are pretty hard as well. They have very high temperament for pain as well. They can go pretty long without food as well.
Oh.
But we don't advocate that at all. But I'm just saying that in the event, because sometimes iguanas actually lose their tails, which they will grow back within. Yeah, they will lose their tails, and this tail would actually grow back within a few months.
Oh my goodness. There are lots of them that we're seeing on this island. Imported?
Yes.
Or are these things breeding and just going out into the wild?
Unfortunately, they are breeding, and they breed at one female iguana would lay at least about 60 eggs, and she may give you 2 clutches. Those eggs would have to 90 days.
Mm-hmm.
So if the hatch rate is successful, you can imagine then you having at least, let's say, 50 babies then traversing Barbados. It is actually happening.
Can I confuse a baby iguana with a regular lizard?
No. The West Indian iguana, when newly hatched, is at least a foot. At least a foot. Our Barbados Anoi is only the biggest size that we probably grow to is at least 7 inches. So there would no, you cannot confuse that at all.
Okay, but you know, sometimes we see there's some lizards that are long, green ones that are long. I mean, unusually long. Are they of the iguana variety?
That's another invasive species.
Mm-hmm.
It's called the giant amoeba. All right, now those came into the country via the lumber, and when we import lumber and stuff, that type of materials. That's how they came into the island, and again they breed a lot. So that's the point that we will see. And the problem is now that the giant amoeba, they actually eat our Barbados Anoi.
Do the iguanas bite?
Pardon me?
Do iguanas bite?
What if caught in the wild? Yes, it may bite you, but the more defense is to lash you with the tail. That's their first defense, is to lash you with the tail.
Okay.
So, but biting will probably be like the last resort that they would go to.
How quickly do they move? So if I spotted one and I wanted to hit one with something right now, how quickly would they scatter?
Well, we would not advocate that at all, but Pearson, when it's hot, and that's when these animals tend to come out. You will see them like from around like 8:30, 9:30 when the sun is extremely hot. Remember that they're cold-blooded and they take in the sun, and that's when they'll get really warm, and then they will move really quickly along, and they will traverse to they'll feed on the ground, they feed on fruit and stuff like that. As soon as you see them, they would scurry away up to the trees, up to the top of the trees. They're very fast.
So they're more
hot.
but they're more scared of me than I of them, right?
Exactly. So that's why I want to tell persons as well. I just remember your video that you showed the public yesterday. When we got that call, it was a old lady, and she was very frantic that she was probably thinking that this lizard was going to kill her or something like that. But these guys are more scared, they're more frightened for you than you. So you don't have to worry about they're charging at you or something like that.
Okay. Well, there's a lot we can learn by visiting the Reserve Sanctuary for sure. You know, and that's the whole point. So folks, if you want to visit, you can give Ryan and his team a call on 259-2024. 259-2024. Visits are still open, and we can go and explore. What I'd love to do with you, Ryan, because I'd love to be able to show people more of what you have at the sanctuary. So over time, our producer will be contacting you so we can introduce people to some more of these exotic pets that you have there at the sanctuary as well, okay?
No problem at all, Pearson. Once again, thank you very much.
You're very, very welcome. Oh,
Okay.
guys, breathe easy. It's gone from your TV screen. So move that thing.
But she's still a baby, you know, Pearson.
That's a baby?
She's still a baby.
Then
All
I
right,
don't
so
want to-
full adult, the males can grow up to at least about 6 feet in length, while the females will only grow to at least about 4 feet. And she's only now 3 feet in length, so she's still a baby.
No, listen.
All right.
Our producer, our director is saying, you know, he's going to build a guard wall tall enough that this can't get over. But that's all right.
But they can climb. You will have to probably build a glass wall.
A glass, oh, they're afraid of the reflection. That's good. They can't,
No, well,
they
no,
can't
say that.
hold.
They can't hold on the glass, but these are
Right.
excellent climbers.
Okay.
Excellent climbers.
All right, well, that makes me feel a lot more comfortable. Thank you, Ryan. They can climb.
Thank you very much, Pearson. And again, it's a lot to learn here at the Murray Zero Sanctuary when you come over. It's not just few animals that you come and see. We guarantee that you leave with lots of knowledge.
All right, so we'll explore that with you in coming weeks. Thank you so much, Ryan. All the best.
Thank you again for having me.
You're welcome. Morning Barbados continues right after this.
Morning, morning, morning. Good morning. Good morning to you.
We've opened the file on our real estate. Now we have with us our real estate agent, Agent Sharita. Good morning to you, Agent Sharita.
Hello, good morning.
You survived the iguana, right?
Only you were traumatized, person.
Only me? Oh, okay. Well, that's comforting to hear. So today we're going to look at, newly married. So the question always in our minds is, in planning for all of this, should we buy right away? Should we build right away? Should we rent? Should I move in with the other partner? So what do you, as a real estate agent, how can you guide me on this?
All right. So I'm going to call this one love and marriage or love and mortgage.
Nice, I like that, yes.
So I'll start off by saying, obviously, first of all, a wedding, getting married alone is a height of stress. And the reality is, especially in Barbadian society, so much stuff is kind of forced on us. That as soon as you get married, you should this, that, and the other. Real anecdote, this happened to me shortly after I got married nearly 10 years ago. I went to a luncheon all fussy with my new husband. And as soon as I got through the door, one of the aunties before he could even say good morning. Yeah, Sharita, hi, how are you doing? So y'all starting to bill yet or what? Can we enjoy each other first, please? So there's so much pressure on young couples, you know, that part of the status quo, part of having arrived is building or buying right away. Well, here's my advice. When you get married, allow yourselves to get to enjoy your marriage. You know, you have moved into each other's space. You're for the true old-fashioned ones that weren't living with each other before, you're getting to know one another's habits more so than before. I say give yourself at least a year of living together in the same space via renting, so that you can feel comfortable, not stressed. You get to adjust to where you are. And remember too, in the immediate future, your needs may change.
Yes.
In this environment, we don't know how things are going with our jobs, etc. So renting can be a little bit less expensive initially and flexible. So I say start there and do not be apologetic about it. That's the starting point.
But at least have a plan, you know, and you know how it is with you ladies. The expectations begin to weigh heavily on, don't break your ears, to weigh heavily then on the men. Fellas, you gotta build a house, we have to settle. And so the pressure comes, but planning is what's going to be most important. And part of that planning could very well be, you know, rather than build, we may buy. So it's almost as if she doesn't want to answer me, right? I know that's what you want to think. I thought so myself. It's like, Sharita's not going to respond to me. But she's obviously having some technical difficulties there. So that's all right. We'll try to get that balanced out so we can get our connection with Agent Sharita sorted out there. So the question is it going to be love and marriage or love and mortgage? And those are the kinds of questions that newly married couples would probably have to weigh. Those questions to find the answers to whether or not and you want to move in together, live in your space or her space, or whether or not you want to rent a new property, or whether you want to buy or build. Those are the questions on the table this morning that Agent Sharita will guide us through. And as you would have just heard, she suggests take some time, at least a year, to enjoy each other first, get to know each other better, to plan even better as well. Don't jump into the plan. Take your time and plan it together, and that's what's going to be absolutely critical as you love and marriage or love and mortgage. So if you have a question further on this that you want to talk to Agent Sharita on, you can always give her a call on 233-8888, 233-8888, or you can send her an email, or you can look for her on Facebook as well, Barbados Real Estate 246, 233-8888. Love marriage, love mortgage. Those are the questions. So what would you do as a newlywed couple? Would you buy? Would you build? Would you rent? Or would you move in? Which one would you do? I can hear the questions on your mind. So you try to work it out in your own space, work it out together. Newly married, love and marriage, love and mortgage. Agent Sharita is 233, say it again, 233-8888. Or Barbados Real Estate 246 on our social media. We are so sorry that we could not connect again with Agent Sharita owing to technical difficulties, but certainly we want to be able to pick this up maybe next time we come around with her next Tuesday God's Spirit Life. We're going to take a break, and when we come back, Thornwood and workouts. I have to come over?
Books open your heart, your mind, and your soul. They are educational, entertaining, inspiring, and motivating. Are you an author of a recent book you want to share? Then Mornin Barbados would love to feature your book in our The Next Chapter segment. Send us an email to morninbarbados@cbc.bb. That's morning without the G. Come and let us turn those pages together.
then, folks, it's 10 minutes now to go to the hour of 8 o'clock on a Tuesday morning. And that's what he's going to do today. He's going to warm you up. He's going to make you feel fitter than ever. Good morning, Paul.
Morning, Pearson. How you doing?
I'm doing great.
Okay.
How you doing?
I am doing good. I'm always doing good, man.
I know.
Doing good.
I can see that. I mean, you're jogging on the spot.
Exactly.
So let's get the heart.
Bringing it up. We can get the heart rate up. Like, first time we can be doing a lot of talking. I had the first set of questions come in this week. So let me just get started in it, right? So the first question was, working abs in the kitchen get rid of stomach fat fast, right? I've addressed this before a couple of weeks ago when we first got started.
I was following instructions.
Right? You cannot spot target fat in any form or fashion, right? Doing sit-ups will not directly affect stomach fat. It just doesn't work that way. So if anybody else is telling you otherwise, your abdominals, first of all, your abdominals are always there.
Yes.
In order for you to see them, you have to drop stomach fat. And that's by either doing strength training, cardiovascular training. It's a holistic thing, which is why when people say, oh, well, I just want to drop lose fat from off of my legs and my arms, I still want to keep my stomach flat. It doesn't work like that, guys, unfortunately.
We can isolate, though.
Isolate stomach fat, like target it?
Yeah.
No. Oh, doesn't work like that.
So
you can, however.
I gotta stop.
You can, however, target how you build muscle.
Okay. So you're building, and in building, it almost takes attention away from the stomach fat.
So bigger muscles will require more calories, right? That's essentially how it works. Your first source of energy that the body will take when you're doing exercise is sugar. After that is fat. So let's say maybe 15 minutes in, it's like sugar, 30 minutes in is supposed to be fat.
Okay.
A lot of that stuff is contextual, but that's generally at the bare minimum how it goes.
But that's time.
Right, that's over the time period of your said workout.
Right, okay.
Right? My experience as a fitness professional, strength training coupled with cardiovascular training is some of the best ways to get rid of fat overall. Lots of compound movements that utilize large muscles, overhead movements that are going to raise your heart rate. Some of the best ways to lose fat all around.
I got to try it from tomorrow. Lose some fat overall all around. But the whole point, all this has to be balanced with your diet.
110%. Glad you said that. You cannot by any means, and that's going to go back to another one of these questions, you cannot by any means out-train a bad diet. Guys, it will not work. I say that again. You can train how many? You can train 10 days a week.
Yes,
or 15. You cannot out-train a bad diet. It simply will not work. It needs to go hand in hand. And I'm not saying to go willy-nilly and try all these fad diets, because I know there are a lot of diets going around. Just keep it simple. Make some very, very sensible and simple choices to your diet, and you will see a change.
The diet varies on the person or the workout, or should we all have a basic diet that we follow?
So, when you're going to school, they generally tell you about basic diet, because diet is just what you consume.
Yeah.
Right? Depending on what you're trying to achieve with the body, it kind of determines your diet. So if you're trying to be a bodybuilder, obviously you're going to consume more protein than somebody who's just your average Joe who wants to lose a couple of pounds.
Right.
All right? The two would not be the same. So your training, your diet needs to reflect your training, basically.
What do you eat?
What do I eat? Well, currently, for example, I'm in a bulking phase. I'm trying to put on a little muscle. And
that's all right. That's
stuff.
good. That's good. Then you want to be like me. Go ahead.
I've always kind of took a longer route. And this is before I did bodybuilding. Right now I'm taking a longer route, which is kind of like a lean bulk. So it takes me a little longer to put on mass, but I have been getting stronger. So I've kind of been testing. I've been working on a new program that kind of puts my mobility, like my handstand work and stuff like that. And it coupled with your big three, which is your deadlift, your squat, and your bench press. So powerlifting coupled with calisthenics is what I'm trying to work on to put together.
Okay.
So right now I'm actually working on a 500-pound deadlift. Yes. I had a PB 2 weeks ago at 462, so I'm proud about that.
Well
so I'm
done.
well on my way. So the results are looking favorable.
I would struggle with a gas bottle to begin with.
So for me, because a lot of my work is a lot of strength work, calisthenics requires a lot of explosive stuff. I do consume quite a bit of carbs because I'm not trying to really drop weight. I'm still trying to maintain and use as much energy as I can possibly get.
Oh, good.
All right?
Good.
So
just want to make sure you're eating right.
Yes. I am eating pretty okay. Am I eating how I would eat for like a bodybuilding competition? Definitely not.
Right.
Definitely,
Okay.
definitely not.
Great.
Definitely not.
So we need to be careful of our diet.
Yes. Be cognizant. Next question.
Well, please.
If you don't eat for 3 weeks, you lose weight, and it's
starve yourself. There are people who actually do that,
and it stays off in a sustainable, healthy way. I know this person was taking a job on purpose. Guys, you will literally cease to exist if you do not eat for 3 weeks. That's just you can go 3 days without water. You could possibly go 3 weeks without food.
But consume some liquid.
Well, you want to consume something. I would never suggest anybody to go 3 weeks without eating.
Neither.
Next one. Hold on. Oh, this is a good one. Doing a certain number of squats will give you a bigger boxy. I love
Father, forgive me. But is that true? Is the glutes?
So, squats are an excellent exercise, hands down. However, for building glutes, they're a bit overrated, right? There are many other movements that you can do to actually build and sculpt and grow the muscle that's in your glutes. You got your hip thrust. You have a lot of like deadlift movements and stuff like that. Unilateral work, single leg work, which will also help to alleviate some imbalances. So, not that squats are necessarily bad, but there's no number of squats that you can do that will help to increase your butt size.
Right.
And
yeah.
So that question is kind of.
And no pun intended. You got what about tightening?
Well.
Yeah, and the same area.
Across the board, tightening comes down to the muscle that you're going to build. You know what I mean? And still dropping fat and dropping water. So that's how you get that toning happening. That still goes back to your diet. So why I really recommend strength training when it comes to people who are trying to like really tone up and stuff like that is because the bigger you build the muscle, right? The more muscle you get, the more fat you'll burn, the more the muscle will show.
I'm responding to the question. The question asked whether squats can help you build bigger glutes.
Butt. Yeah.
And I'm asking, in the instance where the glutes are softer, whether or not you can work on at least tightening those.
Oh, definitely. It's a compound movement. When you're doing squats, your calves are involved, your quads are involved, your hamstrings are involved, your glutes are involved. So yeah, some measure of tightening will happen as you are doing your squats. But they are not the end all be all for glutes. Do your hip thrusts, do your single leg movements, do your Romanian deadlifts,
combination,
sumo squats. There's so many things that you can do that can accompany squats to help you achieve that said result. All right.
Another question, because we have 2 minutes.
We got 2 minutes. We got one more, and I have to give a big.
And don't forget, folks, you can send your questions to caliphate246@gmail.com. Caliphate246@gmail.com.
Actually, that was the last one.
Oh, that was the last one.
So, Pearson, real quick, in October, Caliphate and Level Up, we're teaming up to do a full month of events. Guys, you can come down. You can challenge me to a race. You might win a shirt. You might win a gym membership. We have a wall ball challenge. We got some plank challenges coming on. We got some calorie challenges with the row machine and the ski machine. It's going to be a lot of fun. And we are selecting 2. You guys got to, and in order to qualify, you have to follow at Caliphate 246. You have to follow Level Up Barbados. We're going to select 2 lucky persons, 1 male and 1 female, and they're going to come down and we're going to train them for 6 to 8 weeks and give them a full transformation. That's going to be our Christmas gift to you guys. Like, follow at Caliphate 246, follow at Level Up Barbados, and last but not least, big shout out to Sabrina Waldron, gym manager at Level Up. It's her birthday today.
Oh, congratulations, Sabrina. Happy
birthday to you, Sabrina. Lots of love. She's just completely amazing person.
Yes.
She takes care of everybody down at the gym and makes sure everybody is good, the trainers and the gym goers.
Good. And with that said, we want to thank you so much, everybody, for joining us this morning. We do look forward to seeing you again tomorrow, be it God's will. Until then, now take care. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Wake up, wake up, wake up, wake up. Barbados, get up. Good morning.